got the thing that says how much it's worth. So,
Oh,
or how much
okay.
it costs.
Gotcha. All right. Let's go. 3, 2, and 1. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
Sean. Today, we've got kind of a random flight. We're going to stay on a little bit of a topic of some old Dan Kennedy stuff that we had the chance to go through this week. And we'll kind of focus a little more on that, some ad copy. And we'll talk about hijacking your customer's mind. Pretty interesting. It's kind of like
may or may not be ethical. That's for you to decide. The way it's presented, you could go either way.
Right.
Now, in traditional, Grumpy Dan style, it's like comes across rather cutthroat, but fact is, this is what a lot of people are doing. So you may absolutely be turned off by this. In which case you'll need to take what you can get out of it. But the fact is, everything we're going to talk about
don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. You're going to get some good stuff in here.
Yeah, but we are pulling this from some. I don't know how old this course is, but it's been around a while.
20? No, it was.
Is it newer?
This is like 2016 because it was. He references because I was going through the audios. He references right before it was during Trump's presidential campaign.
Yeah, there's some Trump examples in here.
Yeah. So I think it's either 2015.
Yeah, some of the stuff I've seen before. So he repackages and slices and dices all his stuff, but and it's hard when you go through his stuff because it looks like it's 400 years old with photocopies of photocopies.
Right.
I was always surprised when I got his 3-ring binders, and they're like you could barely read some of them because they're just so photocopied.
So dark. Yeah. They're just, it looks bad, and they're turned sideways, and
it's like somebody just slapped them on the copy machine as fast as they could.
That's right.
Which is probably exactly what happened. But the information's there. The information's good. So
charge $1,200 for it. So but people whip out their credit card again and again. So
absolutely, because it works. The stuff works.
Absolutely,
if you're willing to use it, and not everybody is, myself included. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know, is that So I totally get it.
I think that's the one takeaway you get is everybody has, you read this stuff and you go through it and to their detriment, and we all say it, but my business is different, right? We all use that line, which is totally bogus. I mean, we're just excuse making. I mean, because this stuff will work across the board. Absolutely. And sometimes I'm guilty of even saying that in my industry because I was like, my business is different because this is not going to work with engineers. Well, guess what? Engineers read some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today, and it's crazy. So I mean, they're into entertainment. I mean, everybody likes to be entertained, right? So
absolutely.
So that's what it's about.
Yep. You just have to figure out what their entertainment is and what keeps them busy and distracted, because that's really what a lot of this is. How do you keep people distracted from kind of whatever, and then tie your product to that distraction is really what a lot of it is. So, so we're going to cover some good stuff. But before we get to that, we've got another Ohio beverage to talk about. We're sharing the same beer once again. And today we have the good old Blue Heron from Blue Heron Brewery, the benefit of the stout.
The benefit of the stout.
So they do not have a picture on their webpage of the can. So I'll close that and then hold up our cans. But just what you'd expect, a big picture of a blue heron on a can. So Blue Heron Brewery, benefit of the stout. Not my favorite can, I have to say, of the ones we've looked at. Kind of calm. I did look at their pub, and their brew pub looks pretty tasty. Like they may have to. If I'm ever up in this part of Ohio, I'll have to go maybe try them out. But this is an Imperial American Stout, 8.1% ABV, and it's
keg pricing is not available. What?
No kegs. It says bold American Stout with flavor profiles of chocolate, roast malt, and slight coffee. On the can, it says jet black in color. Benefit is an American Stout with notes of chocolate, roasted malt, and an ever so slight coffee finish.
Yeah.
So they're not big in marketing on their website there. So
no, apparently not. I mean, it's just
the pub must be doing
plain Jane. Yeah,
most of the business because they do have a brew pub that, and I went on their Instagram. It's all pictures of the restaurant. So look at that. They got little geodesic COVID safe domes there for you. Or I guess maybe that's just for like cold in Ohio. I guess it is cold up
that's
there.
True.
Yeah. So
yeah, there's like little heated igloos.
Yeah, but pulled pork sandwiches, like I'm in. Yeah,
I'm in. Slaw there.
Whew, yeah, I'm in for that.
Making me hungry.
All right, let's take a little test of this. I've got mine poured.
Me too.
It is pretty darn dark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I had to go jet black actually.
No, it looked a little lighter brown when I was pouring, but
yeah, I think the like 10W40 and some of those are definitely darker.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll see.
All right. So cheers.
So when I don't get that much of an aroma when I start. Like there's hardly any aroma to it.
No.
Unless I've got COVID again.
You're kidding. Really?
No, I don't.
Okay. It's like, I didn't even know it was a thing. I didn't even know
it's gone. Yeah.
That existed anymore.
It's gone. We're back to flus now.
Yeah. Oh man. I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
I get out my my grading pen. Get some red ink today.
Uh-oh. I brought a Sharpie this time. Stepping up my game.
I'll stick to the blue ink. Man. Let's see
All
one more time here.
You know what? I'm actually changing mine a little bit. So I had a number down. Haven't seen yours yet, but I'm gonna go.
All right.
I'm actually. You already got yours written before I say this?
No, I do.
Okay. So I dropped my score.
I did too by a point, by a decimal point.
All right. So you ready?
Yep.
All right.
Go.
I was at a 3. I dropped it to a 2.5.
Oh wow. We're pretty close. I had 2.8.
Yeah. So my reason was it's actually fairly tasteless.
It is.
There's just not much going on at all.
Not at all.
It's just kind of bland.
I meant to go on the opposite. I don't know what I was doing, but I was at 2.7. I should have gone 2.6, but I actually gave it an up.
It was easier to finish the 6 and make it an 8 than it was to. That's what you.
I'm going to change it again. All right, it's a 2.6. You're a 2.5.
Yes.
2.6.
So yeah, it's just kind of bland.
Yeah, not
blah blah.
Not my favorite. It's getting some a little bit of kudos for the ABVs there, but man, there's just not much there.
No
notes. Pretty flat tasting. So
yeah, I get a little bit of coffee, but
sorry, Blue Heron.
Yeah, man, stick to pulled pork sandwiches. I guess.
Not only is your website lame.
Sure. I was gonna tag you on Instagram too, but no, not anymore. See, you never. Quality of your product matters, man. It's like,
that's right.
You have the world's best marketing, but if people don't want to talk about it, it's not
brutal honesty. Good. By the way, I'm gonna throw this up because it's been sitting in front of my desk. So I ripped this out of a magazine. If this ad, so maybe they could have used this on their beer ad. It's a yogurt ad. It's pretty bold. If this ad doesn't convince you to try our yogurt,
Oatgurt.
I'm sorry, Oatgurt.
Yeah,
nothing will.
That looks exact. That is a classic Ogilvy style ad.
Yep.
With the product in the middle with 2 columns, the spacing around it, the big headline.
Oh yeah,
classic Ogilvy style right there.
The problem with advertising these days, Sean, is that it's too focused on sales. For an ad like this, one to be for an ad like this, one to be considered successful, it has to first get your attention and then provide you with something so amazing. like a set of features or unique selling points or a solid promise.
I got to be honest though, that headline doesn't do it for me.
No, it doesn't.
I mean,
I don't think it would have worked with this beer.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those type of headlines that it's too clever.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
that's why I didn't think it was. I wasn't real.
But I love the layout because I think that's a classic layout that just the layout itself really catches attention. And every time I've used an Ogilvy style ad for trade journals and print ads and things like that, they always do pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
it is attention. It captures your attention. But to that point, I mean, outside of that,
I don't think based on that headline, I would read the body copy.
No.
So I'd move on. And Oatkert, I mean, that's if anything, I would make fun of the name. Remember how Schlotzsky's used to say funny name, serious sandwich?
Yep.
Like I would do something like that. I actually did that for a tool one time in the granite industry. I had this weird looking tool that was designed to get like in the corners of floors and for concrete.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because the big machines can't get in the corners when they do concrete floors and stuff. And it had a weird name. I can't remember what it was, but that's what I did. I was like, weird name, serious tool. It's a knockoff from the Schlotzsky's.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. And we tried weird name, funny name, serious tools, stuff like that, and did pretty well.
Yeah.
So I think it's called the Scarab or something like that. It's kind of a weird name. All right. Well, let's move into some mind hijacking, copywriting secret stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, you sent me some stuff. You said, hey, let's go through this. And we're going to focus at first on what he talks about. Is there a way you wanted to set this up?
We can start with, because he's got a table of contents, but I want to spend some time on inventing problems.
Okay.
Inventing problems for your industry. Because this was a big takeaway for me this week, because it pushed me to look at other angles in the industries and in some of the in the customers that there you go.
So this was the table of contents. If you're on the YouTubes or the Facebooks, you can see these were some of the things the controversial type things. So we're going to pull a couple of them. We'll start with the invented problem. Some of you are familiar with the problem, agitate, solve formula. This kind of goes a little bit beyond that, because where it starts with the invented problem.
Yep.
But then there's some other things. We talked about cold reading before, so we've done some of this stuff. But yeah, there's some really interesting stuff in here.
It's amazing. We talked about cold reading a few weeks ago on an episode, but it really is amazing how often it's used in copy.
Yeah, it really is.
When you start to think, because it's like, oh yeah, you're talking my language. Well, really, they're talking. they're just talking. They're just writing copy that will, tune into what you're thinking. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, and really, well, maybe we'll go into that because he offers some good examples. So if we've got time, we can jump into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's jump to the invented problems. Where are they? There it is. So I thought this quote was pretty good. So he talks about invented problems, and he starts off with this quote from Albert Lasker, who...
Oh, that's a good one. Yes.
There is no law that requires a problem to exist before a solution is created for it, manufactured for it, and sold to cure it. Producing cures only for already existing and familiar problems reveals a stunning lack of imagination, a dull mind. For those of you that are not familiar, Albert Lasker is probably one of the greatest ad people that we don't talk about of the 20th century. And in fact, he talks in this thing about everybody should be reading his book. What is it? How I Sold America or something like that.
Yep. Which I have that book. I've listened to it on audio.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of one of those copywriting books that not many people talk about. Another one that I have back here is Lester Wonderman's book, Being Direct, which is another great copywriting direct response book that hardly anybody talks about. Yeah, there's a couple key guys to get all the glory, but there's a lot of other ones out there. Albert Lasker is one of them. So this is interesting because it's like this is basically saying, hey, look, create the problem and then create a solution for the problem instead of looking for a problem that already exists and creating a solution for that. Like actually create your own problem, and you can create a product to do that, which is different than what we've been told, right? I mean, we've been told find a need and fill it.
Find a need, yeah, exactly. Right.
Not invent a need and fill it. But the fact is, some of the biggest brands in the world did exactly this. They invented the problem. Yeah, Listerine comes to mind. That's on the
originally
next page.
Yeah, it was used as a for surgery, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
To numb, and so now, what did they create? They created halitosis is something that was completely invented.
Yeah.
But it's created a whole market out there from an invented problem. I'm sure people do have bad breath, but halitosis is not something that's a medical term. It was invented by marketers.
Yeah. Because they said, in the research, they say, he talks about in this program, he says, in the early 1900s, J.W. Lambert, a St. Louis druggist, invented Listerine as a surgical antiseptic. So basically like we would use iodine today.
Yeah. Yep.
And later marketed as a cure for throat infections. So almost as a drug.
Yep.
Sales were poor until 1922. So 22 years. They were selling it as a surgical antiseptic and then a cure for throat infections, which kind of makes sense when you taste it.
Yeah.
That it's more medicine than anything else.
Yep.
But his son and two admin convened and settled on halitosis as a polite medical way of referring to bad breath. So it's basically just bad breath, which did exist. So it was a problem.
Right.
But the invention was giving it a scientific sounding name. And then some of the ads, I mean, on like the GIFs, when you do GIFs on Facebook or whatever,
right.
like the savage ones, where it's like, oh, wow, that was savage. Like some of these ads that we're about to show for halitosis, I mean, they're savage.
They are.
Like we're soft in our advertising today.
We are.
In a lot of cases.
I don't know. It's not, we were talking about an ad before. I'll show it. I'll hold it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great example. So let me just acknowledge one of our listeners real quick. The brush fire mind. What's the good word, guys? The good word is invent problems. Like that's 2 words. Invention, I guess. Halitosis maybe is the word.
Halitosis. Here's that. I mean, I love this. None of the products curing these problems came from the worlds of medicine, healthcare, or chemistry. They came out of the fertile minds of advertising men and women. Never underestimate the power of advertising.
Yeah, so they were talking about halitosis. They're talking about athlete's foot. Athlete's foot, made-up term.
Made up.
Body odor was created for a deodorant.
Yep.
So, and Life Buoy soap back in the day. So yeah, even body odor was not an actual term. It was a term created by.
Sure.
This is one of our past guests that is on the comments today. This is Chris Lowry. I did a show with you all about psych warfare about a year ago.
Oh, sweet.
Good to have you back.
Good to hear.
Back in the comments.
Love that image too. Brush fire. What is it?
Brush fire mind.
Nice. I love that.
Sounds like something Alex Jones would have. It's like the brush fire mind.
So we were talking before the show, and some of this advertising does exist because I told you, I went by, I picked up like an Enquirer and a Globe, which
before you show that, I want to show this one for halitosis.
Okay.
So as you get that ready, so let me get rid of Chris's comment. No offense, Chris. Add this back to my stream. Halitosis makes you unpopular. Actually, right above it says in the top left, it says, "Don't fool yourself."
Mm-hmm. Don't fool yourself, right?
Yeah. Since halitosis never announces itself to the victim, you simply cannot know when you have it. And then it says halitosis makes you unpopular. I mean, that's like savage, man. That's like, hey,
it is.
It's almost as bad. It's not quite as savage as the one you're about to show that you picked up this week that is current and like actually making the rounds in the real world right now.
Right.
So why don't you hold that one up? And
here we go. As not to offend anyone out there, but this is an ad. I mean, this is 20. We're in what 2022.
Yep.
And there are ads like this.
Health report. So, fat people are dumber! Exclamation point.
Right below health report.
Yeah. So it says health report is the header for those of you that can't see it online.
Yep.
And then it says medical news you can use, or yeah. And then shocking new study. Fat people are dumber. And it's got a picture
serious
of a huge,
research went into that. I mean, it's got serious research.
It's got a picture of a huge fat guy from the neck down, basically the body.
All right. So, and under the picture, it says, because we got the picture, obviously stock photo, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it says under the photo, flabby folks have slower thought processing speed compared to more fit subjects, researchers say. Now, I'm trying to find who these researchers are, and I'm sure that it'll be buried underneath some of the
an asterisk somewhere. But we were talking about that before the show. And we're like, fat people are dumber. Like, that is brilliant, because if you're not fat, it's going to go to your worldview that yes, fat people are dumber.
Right.
Like it. And then if you are fat, you're going to be offended by it. So you're going to want to read it. Yep. But either way, you're going to want to read it.
Yep.
Like you got to know.
No, it's totally eye catching. I mean, it stops you. It's one of those, headlines that'll stop you in your tracks for a lot of reasons. Cause you're thinking, what? I mean, that's pretty bold. In this day and age to run something like that. And the fact that it got approved. Cause I mean, good luck getting a Facebook ad like that approved.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, this was, so that was in the Globe. You went by because we were talking about Dan Kennedy. He always talks about, look at what's going on in the Inquirer, look at, these magazines.
Right.
Eugene Schwartz said the same thing 50 years ago.
Yep.
Look at the Inquirer, look at the box office hits, look at those kind of things to see what the majority of people are actually watching and reading and doing. So you went by and picked up a couple, those tabloid type things,
right?
Because there is always good copy.
Yep.
And we looked it up, and for a 1-page ad in the Globe magazine is estimated to be about $28,000.
Yeah.
Just for the space. It's a 1-week publication.
Right.
So
it's got
to have some pretty good copy.
Yeah.
And you can't just, fiddle around. Like, you've got to catch people's attention if you're spending $30,000 just on the space, and then, probably paying that or more for the copywriter who's going to write that.
So here's the funny thing. Have you ever heard of McMaster University in Canada?
I have not.
This is where their research comes from. Scientists from McMaster University in Canada say their research links higher levels of body fat with increased risk of cognitive decline, slower thought processing speed, and memory issues. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I've never heard of McMaster University. I'm sure there's a university out there.
Isn't that where you go to learn to run a McDonald's?
Is that like Trump University?
Well, we're not a business, but we got one good study out of it.
But here's the thing. This is just a great example of what we're talking about, because it's inventing new problems. Like, for years, we've been told that fat people are more susceptible to
heart disease,
type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, heart attacks, all of these things that are related to death. I've never seen an ad. I've never seen anything related to being dumber. Right.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, We have a new problem.
New problem.
A new problem.
So what is the offer on this ad?
So they're promoting a it looks like it's a supplement here. Let's see here.
Fat no more.
Their call to action is terrible on the ad though, because it's buried. I mean, it's buried.
It's not good.
Yeah.
We're giving them all these props and then they just go and let us down like that. While you're looking for it, if you like the Brushfire Mind, apparently it's on every weekday morning on YouTube, 7:30 Eastern, I guess somewhere. But I think Chris dropped off. So
here's another one. Nicotine vapes are bad news for kids, right?
Yeah.
These are problems, right? These are new problems that we can come up with. So
yeah,
it's funny that for the longest time, cigarettes were the killer, and so we've you gotten rid of cigarettes. People smoke cigarettes all the time back in the 60s. You could see
your doctor was subscribing cigarettes as a stress relief, back in the 40s, 50s, and
sure.
on. So let's go back to the halitosis example, because I think this is really good stuff. I'll put this back up on the screen. But here's another one for Listerine, and it says, why, up in the upper right corner, it says, why was it he never returned? She never really knew why. He came into her life like some wonderful new perfume. Never before had any man awakened in her heart the tingling romance that his presence seemed to bring, and yet his attention was desired to last only one short evening. They had met and danced. He had seemed quite interested. She was a beautiful girl, and still he left her that night, saying not a word about seeing her again. She never saw or heard from him, and really never knew why. My friend, it was halitosis.
Halitosis, man. Kill your sex life and your marriage, or prospects for marriage, I guess.
Yeah, that's a brutal ad, but it would be like,
yeah,
oh yeah, maybe that's me.
What's the one that says she's the always a bridesmaid but never the bride, or something like that? In there once, often a bridesmaid but never. That's brutal right there. That's so sad.
Yeah, it says, and here's the first line of the copy. So, a lot of, I see this when I edit people's copy all the time.
Yeah.
The first couple lines, it's like warm up copy. And I do this all the time too. If I don't run it by a friend or whatever, I'll tend to kind of slowly get into it. You got to cut that stuff out. How about this for an opening line? So the headline is often a bridesmaid, but never a bride. The opening line is, Edna's case was really a pathetic one.
Oh, man, that's bad.
I mean, that's not beating around the bush there. It's like, Edna's case was really a pathetic one.
Yeah.
Like every woman, her primary ambition was to marry. I mean, that wouldn't fly today.
No, because that's not the primary.
Right. But most of the girls
shouldn't be the primary.
Yeah, but most of the girls of her set were married or about to be, yet not one possessed more grace or charm or loveliness than she. Wow. So that's weird, right? So now we've set up this kind of what's wrong. Now we're setting up the problem. Like, Edna has this pathetic thing going on, but she's actually the most charming, most graceful, loveliest girl of the bunch, and yet she's not married. And then you find out it's because she's got halitosis and she doesn't really realize it.
Oh.
How sad. Good thing there's Listerine to come to the rescue.
It's all about the Listerine, man.
Yeah. So it's like, and I think what you said is a great point about that ad you were reading, is we've heard time and time and time again about how being overweight is going to lead to heart disease. And you'll die someday. But the fact is,
nobody wants to be the dumb guy.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like, well, I made it through today. I made it through the last 20 years being fat. So I don't know, maybe I'll die a little sooner, but what, 5 years sooner?
Right.
Like it doesn't actually compute for most of us. But when you say
yeah,
you're
especially
dumber,
if you don't eat, and I would say even people that don't have like maybe single, don't have a family, because sometimes that plays into it.
yeah,
Insurance companies all the times like, what's going to happen if you you die of that heart attack or die of heart disease and you leave that family with nothing.
right,
It plays on your guilt. As a provider. But if you're a single person, you're kind of like, live and let live, man. If it takes 5 years off my life, I just want to enjoy life.
right.
Well, let's throw this out. How about you're going to be dumber, you know,
Today,
Yeah.
today, you are dumber today. Not 20 years from now, you might
Right.
die.
Yeah.
So that's a really powerful angle. And that's the kind of stuff you've got to look for if you're going to invent problems that your product is then going to solve.
Right.
And they're already
Absolutely.
out there.
Yep.
And you don't have to have a scientific thing, but you could probably find a study, because that's what all these companies do. They just cherry pick a piece of data from a study.
Absolutely.
That's some fringe piece of data that becomes, pop culture truth when it was a very, very small part of the study. It's like when people say, hit workouts burn more calories or, than long distance running.
Yep.
Right. Per hour, stuff like that, which is technically true per minute. But actually, if you run longer, you're going to burn more calories.
Absolutely.
Like you just are.
Yep.
So,
right.
But that caught on because it sounded easier and quicker. So that piece of that truth will not die. You can go on any fitness thing and people will still say, hit workouts or sprints burn more calories than endurance work.
Right.
And it's only kind of partly true. So,
yep.
Stuff like that, people run with it. No pun intended. So
that was clever.
Yes.
So here's another example, inventing problems. So I just happened to, I talked to you, I think I texted you about this. I was driving home last night. I was out of town for a couple of days, driving home from Nashville. So I've got I got it tuned in on Sirius XM because I like to listen to occasionally Tucker Carlson. So he's got a guest on his show. Let me share this. Can you see that?
Yes.
Parachuting palm-sized spiders, aided by cold temps, are likely to invade the East Coast.
What? Palm-sized spiders?
New research from the University of Georgia. Oh man, it's coming out right out of UGA.
Man,
suggests invasive arachnids could start crawling through most of the eastern seaboard of the U.S. So I'm always fascinated because let's just face it. I mean, I tune into some of these news programs not for news information, but it's a lot of entertainment value because a lot of these shows, these are all opinion. So this is not news. This is opinion pieces, and it's designed for entertainment. So on his show,
well, it's designed to get you to click, and I mean it's clickbait, absolutely. Right? I mean it's so they can show those ads that are on the left side of the page there.
Exactly, and so he has two local, I guess, exterminators on his show, a couple of guys, and they're talking about spiders. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a big problem. It's like, I mean, how much do they pay for this? Exactly to, get this going. Cause this is like, this is one of those invented problems. Who thinks about parachuting palm-sized spiders invading the East Coast? But if I'm a guy and if I'm in the pest control business, oh yeah, you better believe that I am taking this and I'm going to run with it. Hey, this was on Tucker Carlson. Did you see that ad on Tucker Carlson? I'm going to
as seen on Tucker Carlson. Man, you could run a postcard campaign to any neighborhood you wanted.
Bingo.
And be like, parachuting palm, as seen on Tucker Carlson, parachuting palm-sized spiders invading East Coast. Like, oh my God.
I mean, even the headline. I mean, this is a news. This is on Fox Weather. Okay,
these aren't just crawling spiders. These are parachuting spiders.
I mean, these are like paratroopers.
Yes, these are elite
paratrooping arachnids.
These are elite arachnids with special ops type skills that are coming to a neighborhood near you.
And so they throw, look at that. And they throw up the video, the not so creepy crawlers.
You could pull the video, put it on a landing page.
Absolutely.
Link to the landing page, whatever pest control /spiders.
Yep.
And have that video that's on this page on that landing page and be like, want to keep these away from your house or your children? Book a call.
Yeah. Who does? I mean, you have kids. Yeah. I mean, the last thing you want is to get bitten by a parachuting spider. So,
it's the worst. I can't think of anything. Oh, man. I mean, I'm not even scared of spiders, but I don't want them parachuting on me either. Man, it's a tough world out there.
It is. It is.
You got Russian dictators and you got parachuting spiders. Like,
right.
Wow, it's a tough world. I don't know how we survive.
So here's the takeaway. Your challenge, whatever industry you're in, test pest control. We just lobbed you a beautiful grenade right there. I mean,
and if you're a copywriter or agency owner or anything like that, you should be contacting every pest control company in your area.
That's right.
And saying, hey, I got the best headline on earth for you. Like, we can get you all the leads you want.
That's right.
Because people don't like spiders.
People hate spiders. I hate spiders.
Wait till I share that with my daughter. She hates spiders. Like, even the super tiny ones that crawl around in the bathroom. She's like, freaks out.
Yep.
So, is there any of the other things you wanted to cover on the from the PDF?
It's a lot of good takeaways. That was probably my big one. I think you can get into, we could get into other topics related to, we talked about, Trump in the past, how he stacks, repeating your message. That's really good. And we might cover that maybe at a different episode, because that's that could be an episode in and of itself called, stacking, cold reading. We kind of got into that. That's kind of a separate episode too, but I really wanted to just focus on, how to create, because it challenged me in my industry. I'll be honest with you. And a big part of this is because of obviously the, what's going on with oil prices nowadays. It's going up to probably get up to about $200 a barrel before long. And oil is tied to big time to the chemical industry. And, so those are conversations. So it's not like that's an invented problem. I think people are aware of it, but there are ways that you can create problems related to that you don't think about, like transportation, logistics. Did you know how this is going to trickle down? Because everything has a trickle down effect in your industry when there's a problem. And so it affects supply chains. It affects logistics. So you can start talking about logistics and saying, have you considered, and this is one of the things that I use, for a lot of my clients. Have you considered buying in bulk to avoid the ever increasing logistic prices that are headed this way? Right? Because what's happening, price of diesel is probably going to go through the roof. Yeah. Guess what? Your freight costs are going to go up considerably. You might want to consider locking in prices now, right?
Or even if you turn that around and like the flip side of that, and you make what they're currently doing a mistake.
Yeah.
Why your standard order of chemical X is a bad idea in 2022.
Yep.
Right. So if you usually buy, however whatever the bulk is, why that's a bad idea. And what you should be doing instead. That would be like a negative angle to take. So they're like, oh,
absolutely. Yeah.
Or the number one mistake chemical buyers are making in 2022.
Right.
They're not buying enough because they need to lock in future prices.
Absolutely.
And buy in bulk now. Even with the cost of storage, it'd be cheaper, or whatever. So yeah. And that would be kind of an invented problem. Like, you could invent some stuff around that. So you really have to step back a little bit and look and do some research and really start freeing your mind up and looking at some of this old stuff. And we've talked about it all the time, looking at old copy, because they do this all the time. and reading stuff like this to get ideas. Because if you're in it every day, or hire a writer, hire a copywriter, because if you're in it every day, you just don't think about it. You're kind of just so busy putting out fires and doing things that you don't have the creative time to do that. That's why you should be going for a walk every once in a while and just getting away from the phone and the email and social media and everything. And that's where the best ideas will come from.
Absolutely. I did. I mean, or in the shower. Like, I came up with
get you a grease pencil for the shower door, because that's where the best ideas come.
I was like, I came up with a brilliant idea for in my opinion, it's brilliant, marketing campaign for my industry, it's kind of a niche market that I could tackle. It's one of those things I pitched to, I mentioned to Ed on our last episode this morning. And so I was like, it came to me in the shower, which is, shower's great. Like you said, walking, taking a shower, a lot of those ideas come like, whew. I wish I did have one of those whiteboards right there. That
this is here, let me show you. This is what you need right here.
I need a waterproof. Perfect.
So it's a scuba underwater notebook, and then they make the pins that go with it. So you can put this like on the ledge or in the basket of your shower.
Yep.
And like, here's one, I think right here.
Yep.
It's the pin with a little rope on it and a notebook, a little pencil.
Oh, that's perfect. I can hang that bad boy right there.
And it glows in the dark.
So okay. Done. Sold.
A shower in the morning.
See, there's a problem. We just created a problem.
Yeah. Copywriters, you're missing your $1 million idea. Business owners, you're missing your $1 million idea when you take a shower.
If you don't have this one tool, that's $15 tool.
For just $15. You could run an ad in the Globe and probably sell this thing out, like a Joseph Sugarman type ad, and just sell the crap out.
How many you could add up? Like, I could imagine you could add up all the lost
revenue,
all the lost revenue over time from taking that one shower a day.
Yes.
Or for some people, 2 showers a day.
Yeah.
Or 3. How much revenue is lost during that time when you're not thinking, when you're not, writing? And there you go.
Yeah, your headlines, why your shower is costing you millions.
Problem solved.
Stop showering or buy this notebook.
That's right.
We
just invented a problem and we solved a problem right here.
Yeah. You can't stop showering, so do this instead. Like, there's all kinds of ways you could play with that, but there is a solution for that if you want to take notes in the shower.
I could buy 1,000 of those, mark them up 40%.
Oh, easily.
And write some copy.
Sell them to the internet marketing niche.
Bingo.
Man, they would buy it. So, some people would just go in Amazon and try to find the same thing, but
yeah.
Most marketers would appreciate what you're doing. And
before we wrap up, speaking of invented problems, I don't know. Have you read this book? Make them believe.
Yes. I think I've read part of it. Yeah.
Okay. It's a good one to go back through. I recommend it to all of our listeners. How one of America's legendary rogues marketed the goat testicle solution and made millions. Literally goat testicles. This is a guy that advocated for having a goat's testicle like surgically implanted for more virility, I guess.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's crazy what people buy into, but there's a problem. There's a solution.
Absolutely. And if it's a large enough problem, or in this case, not large enough problem, people will buy it.
Damn, too late.
It's all right. It stands on its own. It didn't need a drum. That was good enough.
It didn't. It really didn't.
But yeah,
no, you're right though. That's why millions of dollars are spent on,
testosterone
supplements, and
horny goat
ED
weed
pills. Yep, exactly.
That's why all the natural supplements have horny goat weed in it, because it's like with a name like that. It's got to work.
Absolutely.
Right. Even though that's probably one of the least effective supplements, but
Yep.
you got to throw it in there just for the name. Like, so. All right.
Well, good show. This is fun. We better
quit before it goes downhill.
You know what? We
should E-rating.
We should call up. We did this once before, Sean. Maybe on on an upcoming episode, we should call into some of these
Inquirer ads and stuff. Just a whole show where we call Inquirer ads. I like it.
We just qualify ourselves, man, on air, on the live podcast.
That would be fun. Yes, we'll have to do that.
All right.
Put that on the docket.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, it's been fun to all of our listeners. It's persuasionbythepint.com. You can find us on all of your podcast platforms, Stitcher Radio, iHeart, Spotify, you name it. Leave us 5 stars if you like it. Leave a rating, 5 stars. Leave some comments. And like our friend Chris Lowry, he likes to chime in. He likes to come in. And again, let's give his show some props. What is it? Every weekday morning at 7:30?
Yeah, the Brushfire Mind.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a podcast or YouTube. I'm not sure what it is exactly. I don't remember. But I'm sure if you just did a quick Google search for the Brushfire Mind, you would.
Good for him.
You'd find it.
Doing a show at 7:30 in the morning ain't doing it. Ain't doing it.
Happening on my watch. Yeah, brushfiremind.com. Here, let me just throw it up real quick as we're going out.
Yep.
Since he was nice enough to stop by, because we're like that.
Yep. Good stuff. There you go.
Get rid of so many buttons to push. Never miss a show, live every weekday, 7:30-ish.
The truth should matter. There you go. 7:30.
If it was 7:30, mine would be very much ish and less 7:30. It'd be like 7:30-ish, more like 8 o'clock, 9.
Yeah, 8 o'clock, maybe later. Who knows? Yeah. We'll see you whenever we start.
Still doesn't say exactly where it is. I guess it says channel trailer, so I guess it's on the YouTubes.
Yep.
Yeah, YouTubes. So.
Yep. There you go. He's got some interesting content there. So,
counting down to the midterm red wave.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, Chris. I'm not going to be getting up at 7:30 to listen. I'll catch the replay. Good thing.
There you go. Yeah.
Good thing they store these. But for all you like 4 a.m.ers out there, add this to your morning routine.
I'm up at that time and I'm doing some stuff, but I'm certainly not ready to.
Really?
Listen. Yeah.
Dude, I'm not.
Dude,
I have this thing that if I'm not utilizing every minute of the day throughout the day, why am I getting up at 4 a.m.? Like, I need to get my life together from like 9 to 5 before I need to worry about getting up at 4. I don't know. Maybe that's a backwards thinking, but
6:30. So I'm typically up at 6. I'm reading. I'm having my coffee at 6:30. I'm reading. So I go from 6:30 to about 7:30. I'm reading like either something in a book or just some online stuff or whatever.
Yeah. I've literally got a buddy though. He's up every day doing an Instagram video at 4:30 a.m. And he's in the gym by 5 a.m.
Nope.
I'm like, and he's so cheery then. Like he's doing these Instagrams. He's like, hey y'all, 4:30, time to go. I'm like, dude.
Have fun.
No.
Enjoy.
But he goes to bed at 8:30 at night. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it.
See, that's the part you never hear about.
Yep. That's right. You don't.
Nobody talks about what time 4 a.m.ers go to bed.
Yep. Gotta have that sleep.
The rest of the world is just getting started at 8 o'clock at night and they're going to bed. So
I used to do those 4 or 5 hours sleep nights. I can't do that anymore. Those only for the young. Sorry, I'm not that age anymore.
If you're working out hard, you just can't do it.
Gotta have it. Yeah. Your body needs that recovery.
So
all right, man. It's good stuff. We'll see you guys next time. I think Sean we'll delve into a little bit of the story selling. Getting in those books next week. We might have a guest on, but we're going to tackle. We had originally planned on doing some of the story selling series by was it Paul something? I can't remember. Paul Smith. Yeah. Great book. Sell with Story and then Lead with Story. He's got 2 fantastic books. Those are great. I think honestly, I've got both of those, and I think the Sell with Story is better. But we'll cover both of those next week.
Yeah, Lead with Story was more about leading a company.
Yep.
but that was actually his first book, and then he kind of niched down to selling.
Yep.
But a lot of the same principles apply. You know, the common word there is story. So
yep.
Not to give it away, but
right. Good stuff. Well, we'll give a little away.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Have a great weekend, Sean. And we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
All right. Good stuff. That was fun.